have to get it lined up in the right spot, and then you just kind of give it a little elbow grease right up against the magnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Leshowitz Recital Hall. At this time, we ask that you please silence your electronic devices and locate the nearest exit in the event of an emergency. Please note that food, drink, and flash photography are not permitted in the hall. Thank you and enjoy the performance.
Excited to have Bernard Roumain here this year as our artist in residence. He's already done a lot at the school this week. He's met with composers, string players, other kinds of performers to do improvisation, to look at our students' music. It's been a really amazing week so far, and we can't wait to work with him some more. I'll just say a few words to introduce him. He'll do a little bit more of that as he goes on. But Deavere, as he's sometimes called, is associate professor out at Arizona State University. He's a kind of multifarious composer, performer. You'll definitely see him do some of his violin stuff here. That's what all these pedals are for, so you're in for a treat. Daniel was the first music director of the Vilteen Jones Dance Company. He also scored a film called Ailey, about Alvin Ailey, the dancer, that was screened at Sundance Film Festival. He's got affiliations with the American Composers Orchestra, with the Sphinx Organization, with the American Academy of Arts and Letters, a whole slew of really great involvement with the whole ecosystem in music and the arts, especially when it comes to new music. So we're really grateful to have him here, and so please welcome Daniel Bernard Roumain.
When I was 5 years old, I wanted my violin to breathe. Somewhere, someone is taking their last breath. My good Haitian mother would often remind me when you come into someone's home, you bring a gift, you never go empty-handed. Danny, she would say, Danny, can you lift up everyone's voice and sing? Hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? Sorry, I tried to not go there. I tried. You know, as my good Haitian mother would say right now, Danny, please don't embarrass me. Please. But it's very good to be here with you. Sorry, I tried to resist, but I know that was loud, but it's all part of one thing. Started with an open G on a good old-fashioned, new-fashioned violin, Charlie, and then moved to Bernadette, which is a six-string instrument made by the great Eric Aceto, Ithaca Strings in Ithaca, New York. If you have a chance later, you can come check out Bernadette. I have a 7-string instrument. I'm having an 8-string instrument made. All of this to talk about what I think is a composer's view. My name is Daniel Bernard Roumain, DVR. I did not come up with DVR. Rika Eno, who I've been working with for many years, did. And I said, sounds good to me. We were looking for something quick, a kind of branding before branding was a term. I moved to New York City in 1997. I started playing for dance classes. 63rd Street and First Avenue. It was January 1st, 1997. I'll never forget it. I went to 63rd Street and First Avenue. I made the sign of the cross. That was the house that Martha Graham had built. The next day I had an interview with the great Pearl Lang, the last great Graham dancer. I played for her for about 4 years till they knocked the building down. And I always say that the relationship between modern music and modern dance is severe and wonderful, sacred. You cannot really understand modern music unless you really understand modern dance, a dancer's breath. That's why I wanted my violin to breathe. I wanted my violin to roar. It's a kind of equity, right? And I think what's happened is that this has become about magnification, not just amplification. I'll get to that if there's time. I know that when I play with your New Jersey Symphony, I'm welcome. The great maestro there, Zhen Zhang, I always mispronounce her name, and I'm so sorry, who is going to be doing 2 things at once. She is also the Seattle Symphony's new music director, by the way. That's a big deal. First time in, I think, any American orchestra's history where you have a music director who is a Chinese woman, right? I think it's the very first time. I'm on the board for the League of American Orchestras. I should know this, I'll do the research. But that's a significant thing, and she's gonna she will continue in her role through 2028 at the New Jersey Symphony. I was just there in their capacity, in my capacity as their resident artistic catalyst. Some of my works are proudly published by New Jersey's own Subito Publishing Company. You should check them out, right? Get a hand for Subito. Yeah, publisher.
Subito is an alumnus.
Oh, yes, wonderful, wonderful. And thank you, I love that, that's right, participate, let your voices be heard. And what we're gonna do over the course of the next few minutes, I'm going to, I've never written a book. I don't know if this is gonna be a book. It's a PowerPoint presentation for now. But I thought I would present most of it and talk a little bit directly to you, show you some things that I have done, and then have questions and comments. And then if there's time, maybe play a little bit more at the end. Does that work? Is that good? Last night I was at an event in New York City. The great Andrew Zimmerman, wonderful artist, at his loft on, it's on 26th Street. Sorry, well, part of it's public. And in the room was Van Jones and Gayle King and all these very wealthy people who love the arts. Can art be resistance? Capital R. And Van Jones, in case you don't know, was awarded, along with some other very influential people, $100 million from, I believe, Jeff Bezos, which is unrestricted in our business. I'm sure there are some restrictions, but publicly it's unrestricted. And I was there supporting his work and his cause, which, I think I can say this publicly, is a focus on Black and Jewish people. And I entered the room after Gayle King and Van Jones spoke, and I slowly played Hatikva, explaining when I was 5 years old, the first piece I ever played publicly was Hatikva. Before the national anthem, before Lift Every Voice and Sing, before the Haitian national anthem, I played Hatikva. And can you believe it? When I was 38 years old, I had a son. His mother, Jill Arkin, is Jewish. And my son is 15. He had his bar mitzvah 2 years ago, and there he was, carrying the weight of the Torah through Dover, Massachusetts temple. And as he reminds me, I'm Black and white and Catholic and Jewish and German and Haitian. And I think about my responsibility to his blood. His story is not mine. His anger and rage, my anger and rage, he does not share. So much of 2020 was creating work with a closed fist. In fact, I've never said this publicly, so much of my work has been a closed fist, a protest. This is who I am. It is not a conversation, it is confrontational. And there is so much injustice in the world, let me point it out to you, right? And now I'm 54, 53, I'll be 54 on December 11, and I get tired. I think rage fatigues you. You hear it in my voice. So it's an open hand. Today is an open hand. It started a few years ago, too. It is my son. I don't use the word teacher or student, I use the word contributors. We're all contributors to a classroom, a concert stage, a community, Montclair, a world of ideas. We're all contributors to a world of ideas. I have nothing to teach you. Rather, let's have a conversation with an open hand, a proclamation of all those things, all those people, places, spaces that I love. Can I get an amen? Can I get a hallelujah? And you know, I'm saying, I know we're streaming, I would not use the mic at this point, but we're streaming. I'm saying this to you as a proud Black Haitian-American composer. I can define myself in 10 seconds. Hello, I'm a proud Black Haitian-American composer, and by composing, I mean the farming and framing of ideas. I have a sophisticated palate. I'm not interested in your cat or your dog. You dig? Right? Yeah. And I want to be clear about how quickly division can settle in. In my younger sister's room is a framed picture of Michelle Obama, black woman, intelligent and brilliant, prophecy, a living testament to all the suffering and success of her family and her culture. And in my older sister's room is a framed picture of Sarah Palin. And on her home, she proudly waves a flag that says, God, guns, Trump. And I love my two sisters. And I know you know what I'm talking about, this oscillation that sometimes the artist is caught in the middle. Don't we love everybody? Isn't everyone welcome here? Aren't all voices supposed to be lifted? All voices. It's complicated. A composer's view. On the farming and framing of ideas. Contributors. Can we dim the lights? Alexa, give a hand to Alexa on the lights. I love that name. Can we dim the lights? Why not? When I was in elementary and middle school, none of my teachers or mentors were black or brown men. When I attended university, none of my teachers or mentors were black or brown women. I feel who we were as learners influences and informs who we are as teachers. So much of our development when we were young is through the lived experience of those charged with teaching us. And in the most alive and loving classrooms, teachers freely exchanging their knowledge with their students. I no longer use the words teacher or student in the classroom. I prefer contributor. And in our sacred learning space, we are all contributors to a space, classroom, community, and world of ideas. For us, education is the precise identification, articulation, and expression of life experiences within a broad scope of history, best practice, innovation, and discovery. With these definitions and directives guiding us, mentoring all contributors in our classroom becomes the most urgent, vital, and collaborative work that I do as a professor, composer, and performer. I feel it is my role and responsibility to instill in all contributors the need to identify clearly defined goals and boundless dreams, the passion to pursue their goals with purpose and intelligence, and the informed patience to help contributors acquire the necessary skills and professional experience to express and achieve their goals as they fulfill their dreams. Definition: I'm a black Haitian-American composer, capital B, who sees composing as conversation and collaboration with artists, organizations, and communities within the farming and framing of ideas. According to the New York Times, I'm about as omnivorous as a contemporary artist gets. And I've worked with artists from Janae Bridges, who will be here March 3 through 5, Lady Gaga and Philip Glass, Deavere Jones, Marin, Alsop, and the great writer-actor Anna Deavere Smith. Gift. When I enter a classroom, I feel it is my responsibility to bring a gift, something that we can all share. I usually bring my violin. Perhaps it was something instilled in me from my good Haitian mother, capital H. She was my first teacher, and in this, one of the most important. She always told stories, and each life lesson was submerged in her own personal anecdotes on how old she was, where she was, what she was doing, who was there, and how it all unfolded and would end. These stories were always captivating and invigorating, but she was careful never to reveal, in obvious ways, the lesson embedded in them. You had to learn to teach yourself. Over time, I came to realize that more than her personal accounts of what her life was like many years ago, she was giving power to history, applying a basic appropriation of knowledge, and speaking towards the responsibility of the artist to innovate, challenge, and fearlessly express.
As an artist entrepreneur, I really am committed to creating projects that speak to social injustice, have something to say about racial and cultural identity. And in many ways, I'm trying to figure out how are we all going to live together. I have, throughout my career, worked with DJs, laptopists, iPadists, choreographers, dancers, spoken word artists. I've worked in film, television, in modern dance, ballet, and I'm always wanting to find out how I can learn and create something new. When I go into the classroom as an educator, I'm thinking about a conversation. You can do that. I see education as one of those places where democracy really can happen, and that all voices can and should be heard.
Imagination allows me to do anything.
It will take more blood, more sweat. It will take faith over faith, strength over pain, pain over fear. It will take a village, a city to persevere. His mother on the sideline holding her family down.
It's important as artists, we are having a direct conversation with our personal audience. Opera Philadelphia has invited me to create a new work, and I immediately turned to Mark Bamuthi Joseph to write the libretto, and the great Bill T. Jones to direct and choreograph the work. And we've been working on our new opera called We Shall Not Be Moved. It's an original work that explores the controversial and difficult aspects of racial inequity, social injustice, and the role of law enforcement in all of our lives. We Shall Not Be Moved, I hope, will be the kind of work that can help to heal not only the Philadelphia community, but all communities that are suffering and that look to the work of the artist as antidote. I think for me, love has to do with service and how I can serve any community. I want to do good, it's a simple thing. I want to do well, and I want to be real.
Thank you. Collaboration. I've composed music for 20 films, including the acclaimed Ailey, was the first music director and principal composer for Bill T. Jones on his own company. That's a change from dance company, purposeful and intentional. Released and appeared on 30 album recordings. I've published over 300 works. I've appeared on CBS, ESPN, NPR. I have been presented and collaborated with BAM, Kennedy Center, Lyric Opera of Chicago, Montclair State University, John Gary Cali. Gotta change that. I was artist in residence here and creative chair there at the Flynn and Vermont and so on and so forth. I'm a tenured associate and institute professor at Arizona State University. It's a really wonderful place, and I'm so grateful that they've allowed me to be here. I've always seen it this way. When our politicians and pundits fail us, artists have often led the way. When words offer less meaning than music, artists have always led the way. When things seem at their worst, it is the artists who have oftentimes offered hope.
The last concert we did was before the pandemic, was March the 1st, 2020. Well, I've been counting days exactly to the very opening night. It was 557 days. We opened October 8th, 2021. We opened with a very strong program that really put the spotlight on diversity. And we've commissioned, especially for this program, this concert, Michael Abel's Emerge. The other piece is the Voodoo Concerto by Deavere. This is a perfect program that combines the standard repertoire like Beethoven 7, really to showcase our orchestra with very new music. On the opening night, the orchestra made a European entrance, which is a slow entrance for the whole orchestra to come in order by rows, really. Very funny, one of the musicians asked me, do you really think the audience is gonna keep applauding for us this whole time? Because it's gonna take at least 5 minutes for the whole orchestra to enter. I think they will, and I was right. Really, the opening night, the audience gave us, as far as I can remember, the longest applause for our orchestra ever. When the orchestra slowly entered stage, they just kept applauding without any stop. And it was so warm throughout. There's not even like dimming or anything in sound. It was amazing. I was very touched. I was backstage on the side. I was hearing this and I couldn't believe my ears.
I wrote Filter in the summer of 1992 in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, at a small music and dance festival. I had been playing a version of the work for years before, but decided it was time to notate it for myself and others. The work then became the first movement of my first violin concerto, Voodoo Violin Concerto, composed in 2002. It's the first time I notated one of my many extended techniques for the violin, where filtering is moving the violin bow as close to and as far away from the bridge as possible, creating an electronic sounding filtering effect. In 2017, the acclaimed violinist Rachel Barton-Pine asked me to create a new introduction and closing to the work, and that version was published for the first time in 2024. And just a few months ago, the great Augustin Hadalish has recorded Filter and released it on, I believe, Warner Classics. And the work was first published by Subito Publishing Company. And this is a little bit of Augustin playing Filter. Okay, we are with family and friends. I told Augustin I am never going to be able to play this piece again because of you. But I did want to talk about filtering a little bit because I had an extended violin technique, an extended string technique workshop this morning, and I'm realizing I didn't really talk about filtering with them, and we will pick it up next month. Okay. So, oh, you're very kind. Augustin is very interesting. We never talked about the piece. He refused to. In fact, he said to me, you know what, Daniel, everything I need to know is in the score. And I took that to mean that there was almost a purity of communication between us. And I love what he's done with it. I can't do that. In fact, the opening he's playing, which I wrote for Rachel, I can't play. I can't. But filtering is moving closer and further away from the bridge as you play. So that's filtering, and I don't really feel like I invented it. I just kind of have been talking about it for a few years, and it is what it is. Okay. We shall not be moved. On the run after a series of tragic incidents, 5 North Philly teens find refuge in an abandoned, condemned house in West Philadelphia, at the exact location that served as headquarters of the MOVE organization, where a 1985 standoff with police infamously ended with a neighborhood destroyed and 11 people dead, including 5 children. This self-defined family is assuaged and even inspired by the ghosts who inhabit this home and begin to see their squatting as a matter of destiny and resistance rather than urgent fear. This is a matinee, and all of these children right here continue to live near Osage Avenue in Philadelphia. This is Opera Philadelphia.
Later than you think. It's later than you think. Oh, gee, say I see the future, baby, and it is mine. Oh, gee, say love your body, baby. Love yourself, baby. Oh, gee, say self-love leads to sex love. Oh, gee, say time did not reconcile me to my chains. It made me familiar with them. Say black and here, yes. Say, call life and I will come. Say the slave song beckons the morning. Come. A diseased fruition of universal law, responding to calls gasped as Philly kids breathe their last. As if touched by an angel, the air quivers. Slave song delivered as shiver up the spine, supine the sky bends in agony, bearing the brunt of the slave song's majesty. Magically, unnamed ancestors speak through me, the muse, reaching out to the maroon midnight, the slave song crying wide the blight of forsaken will to live, encased in Till's corpse, a slave's missive, christened in the blood of Shakur. Hear me, the bass in mother's roar as she rages, brown boys in cages, mental stages stunted, imprisoned. The slave song is visibly vibrant as aurora borealis, but only if you listen.
song delivered as wind, remembering that I am she becoming me again, carrying a cancer through cloud and time, fading in a sea and meeting me again in the light as I rise, sublime the sky bends in agony, sublime the sky bends in agony, in agony so deep the sky bends, 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 the sky bends. As it touched my angel, the egg river, free of sun, delivered as wind, remembering that I am she, becoming she again, carrying a cancer through cloud and time, leaving me to see and hear me again in the light as I
Man, those four dancers.
I felt a spirit.
Sorry, I'm just going to go on. I know, I'm sorry. Because I want to have time for you. Voodoo Violin Concerto, a first-generation Haitian-American whose parents speak French and Creole. Roumain grew up listening to hip-hop and classical. He's somewhat comfortable in both languages. His Voodoo Violin Concerto fuses multiple arenas, embracing not only hip-hop and classical, but also jazz, blues, and folk music. Improvisation over orchestral pedal points plays a significant role. I don't know about that. For example, in the opening cadenza, there's no improvisation in the opening cadenza, Hollering in the Night. Oh, sorry. Laurie Schulman is awesome, by the way. Sorry, she's fantastic. Launching the concerto in a wild and exuberant fashion. The mood and style shift rapidly, incorporating the jazz technique of call and response, and interpolating several additional cadenzas, one of which riffs on the Star Spangled Banner, all true. I'll just play a little bit of this, because I want to share it with you. Yo, thank you, thank you. I was going to show a video of me and Mark Mamouk and Joseph, but I'm more interested in our conversation right now. Home, more than this. I feel that the world was always spinning, in and out of control. In what direction? How fast or slow? How do we get on or off this complex web of design, dysfunction, destruction, death, and dreams? And what of our dreams? Like cosmic dust, my black matter isn't metaphysical. Rather, I stretch the liminal space between message and myth. I know that when our politicians and pundits have failed us, artists have always led the way home. We are this place more than Montclair State University. It is more than campus. It is essential. Is it home? Thank you. We'll bring the house lights up. Thank you, Alexa. Oh, okay, good. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay. So we'll bring the house lights up because I'd love to know if you have any questions, comments. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What are you left with? Can we get the house lights up even more so it doesn't feel so performative? And yes, what's on your mind? First one's always the hardest. As I like to say, you should always have a question. You should always have a comment. Yes, yes.
Can you share an uncomfortable story of your creative process of a time that you almost had to scrap something because you thought, I don't know if this is going to work?
Can I share an uncomfortable story of that I almost had to scrap or abandon something because I didn't think this was going to work? Voodoo Violin Concerto. Didn't think it was going to work. We Shall Not Be Moved. They asked me to write an opera, and the most important person is a character called Unsung that doesn't seek. That doesn't sing. Very uncomfortable. About an event in Philadelphia where there were board members at Opera Philadelphia who were very clear that they did not think that this was a story that should be shared. Filtering. Going into one of my teachers at Vanderbilt University, where's Zach, and saying, I want to do this, and my teacher's saying, are you sure you want to do that? I think most of my creative life has oscillated between, I've talked about this. I see my creative practice as an island. On one side is tradition, knowing history, technique, craft. On the other side is innovation, the unknown, future, new sounds. I'm in the middle. What is in the middle? Imagination, discovery, courage, retreat. I got lucky. I think it was a combination of arrogance and fear. In that when I maybe should have given up or maybe should have abandoned something, I was able to rally and push it through. So I got very lucky. I don't even know if I would recommend it. It's such a great question. What I'm not sharing with you are the things that have failed. In some ways, Voodoo Violin Concerto fails, to tell you the truth. I would never orchestrate what you just heard now. I think I'm a little better at it. And I don't know how novel, how replicable filtering is. There's always doubt. You're not for everyone. That's also connected to your question. But actually, what I think you're getting at is what are the benefits and liabilities of persistence? I used to have such an answer for that so quick, but I have to say I'm so old now that I don't know if I should be giving advice other than to someone else, other than to say that for me, I have found dedication. It's a faith. You have to believe that everyone in this room has said or done something to someone else that they cherish, that they may be repeating or thinking about right now. You have to believe that. That's our faith. And their echoing, parroting of what you said, what you did, something you did on that trumpet, man. Oh my God. And they're sharing it with someone else, and it's changing that person's life. And this goes on exponentially. Those are the bricks of culture. those are the cornerstones of community. So, I don't know, does Voodoo Violin Concerto, even if its title, mean anything now? What does Voodoo Violin Concerto, what could it mean in Springfield, Ohio? Do you know how I feel? I posted on my Instagram, Haitian-American, lowercase a, composer. You know? Believe me, there are people who are like, why post that? And there are people who are like, why post that? Thank God you posted that. Yeah, sorry, I'm straying. I'll give shorter answers. Yes, so good to see you.
How far up the ladder are you in your growth of your talent?
Oh, nobody's ever asked me that question. How far up the ladder am I in the growth of my talent? I hope I'm at the second rung. And I hope this ladder extends 25,000 feet, 25,000 rungs into the air, really. I've never had writer's block. I have too many ideas. I'm looking at you right now, and there's a musical portrait waiting to happen. You know, just like any other portrait, in your question is so much challenge and change and opportunity and comfort. I've been looking at you the whole time, both of you. Comfort, helping me, making me feel good. Yes, you know, I've talked about, yes. You know, and it's so musical, it's so obvious, it's so clear to me, you know, and if you and I were on a stage together, if we just walk out, as the great Bill T. Jones would say, the best artists for me walk out onto a stage, bow, and they don't have to do a damn thing, you know, and if you and I walked onto a stage together, what would that mean? You know, that pas de deux, that duet, that's important, right? I should really pursue it. See what's happening right now? I shouldn't retreat back there. I should come here, get her name, right? Exchange. This is a place that can happen. It's a place of inquiry, safe inquiry. Is it? Sorry, what's happening? I think about who might come through that door. I'm a father. Who might come through that door? I used to refer to these things as my weapon of choice, you dig? But other people have other weapons of choice that can really hurt you. I'm an artist, I'm a composer. Am I really gonna change your life? Politicians do that. And you know who else does that? Those who are armed with real guns. Who could come through that door right now, or that door right now? What would happen? Would I go to them? I think I would. I think I would, because I'm old. But the point is, that's an incredible question, because maybe at 54, you might think that I'm kind of losing ideas. If anything, I feel like my imagination muscle has never been more supple. My son can't do this. He's tight in the hips. Your imagination muscle needs to be massaged and flexed and challenged. Do you know what it is to build muscle? It is to break it. Biologists will tell you that. Do you know what it is to build a dream? I'm still answering your question. It is to break it, to be challenged, to force a career, right? What a wonderful opportunity for you and I to really create something. Sorry, I mean, don't do that. Okay, one more question. Yes. Where? You're pointing. Oh, yes. Can't see. Yes, good to see you again. You're a violist. Wonderful violist. I remember, yes.
That reminds me of the nuggets, what you said, of the building versus culture, of the people that you look up to and admire. What are some of their kind of alternative mantras or building blocks of the culture that they repeat to themselves? What do you remember?
Oh, I should remember this. I'm not good on quotes. I should remember. Well, I told you one from Bill T. Jones. I can't paraphrase well. I can tell you who I read. Bell Hooks, All About Love, James Baldwin, Toni Morrison, Robert Frost. Sorry, I was about to say Robert Kraft. Him too. Robert Frost. I've been watching a lot of Stravinsky and young Bernstein talking about music. I've been watching Nina Simone. Oh, there's a wonderful video. It's about 24 seconds long. She talks about self-definition. I'm sure you can find it. I can't give a... My mother is suffering from vascular dementia. I asked her one day, Mom, what do you do all day? She said, oh, Danny, I have nothing to do except love. And I wrote a song about it. Be very careful who you read and listen to. Curate that carefully. This is an entire campus. Seek out those professors beyond Cali, wonderful as they are here. Be very careful who you quote. Okay. And I know we're over time. Ooh, yeah, oh, it's right at 2:30. Maybe one more quick question? Yes.
You talk about farming and framing of ideas.
The farming and framing of ideas. That's right. Haitian people are farmers and fishermen, the agronomist, this relationship to our planet, to the soil. But that's the thing, right? An idea is at its best something that will grow, like a seed. You might plant it and it'll germinate. So as a composer, for me, composing is the farming and framing of ideas. What I mean by that is that before sound, there's an idea, there's a title. It happened right now. There's an opportunity. That's a seed. Now what can I do with that? How could we work with a director? There's a libretto, right? There's an opportunity to build something together at its best. Any garden is a collaboration between the gardener, the soil, the sun, they'll tell you, right? And over time, that soil changes. At its best, it becomes more rich. Matter of fact, any good gardener will tell you that it takes about 5 to 10 years for that soil to really reach its full potential. Martha Graham, it takes 10 years for me to build a dancer. Yeah. So that's what I think I'm getting at. It's an interesting play on words. The farming and framing of ideas. And there's a humility in it. Because I think that ideas are not exclusive. That ideas can, at its best, be equitable. There are ideas that are dangerous. There are quotes that are dangerous, and they're oftentimes repeated. And sometimes the best things, the most sophisticated ideas, oftentimes, like a sophisticated palate, are sometimes hard to digest, sometimes hard to understand. Check out any essay by Vijay Iyer, right? You dig? But I'm not that, but I know who I am. And right now, I'm the artist in residence at this great university, in this great school, surrounded by people that I trust, like Catherine, and like Aaron, and like Alexa, and so many I'm forgetting their names. Forgive me, I'm forgetting their names, I'll learn them. But the most important part is that I feel safe, I feel welcome, I feel like I'm with family, and together, let's grow our garden, a new ecology for the arts, founded in, starting with, a collaborative garden where all ideas and ultimately all voices can and should and always will be heard.